my partner and I, we go on a lot of cruises. Now, he enjoys them a little bit more than I do, but
I think Tim enjoys life a little more than you do across the board.
Wow. Okay. I would not say that, but okay. Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, hey Vivian.
Hey Chelsea, good to see you virtually. I miss having you here on site with me.
I miss being there. This is definitely a little different than our usual, but we're still here. And as always, you know, if you guys are liking our content, please like, subscribe, leave us a review, all of that good stuff. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, just send us a DM or leave a comment on our YouTube page, anything.
Yes, we definitely want to cover topics that you guys are interested in and, you know, just kind of get some of that engagement or that two-way conversation going.
Of course. So, this is on topic for today, but Vivian, I don't know if you saw, but Pelican Snow Cones is open again.
Yeah, so for those of you who may not be in the South, because I'm not sure if we have them up north, but Pelican Snow Cones is what, Chelsea? It's a franchise?
Yeah, it's a franchise of snow cones.
Yeah, and so snow cones for everyone, it's in Spanish, we call them what, raspados?
Yeah, raspados.
Okay, so it's where you have shaved ice and then you get to pick the type of flavoring that you want on there. So basically just boiled down sugar. I'm joking. So Chelsea loves her some snow cones. Now, what does that have to do with what we're talking about today?
So Pelicans, they actually close in their off season, so they're not open during the winter months. But for small businesses, I mean, you can't really just shut down operations for a couple of months. You need to keep going. So our topic for today is how to stay relevant during your off season.
Yeah, such a key thing for any business, because I think no matter what type of business you're in or what industry you're serving, you are always going to have a peak season, and then you're going to have a season where you're just kind of like, you know, in a lull. I mean, we see it even in healthcare all the time. So during the summer months, it's always really slow because people are taking vacations and, you know, going on trips and whatnot. So, yeah, definitely to your point, I think it's something that every small business owner should plan ahead for, and you just need to know these things about your operations. So, Chelsea, I know you work closely with some of our clients. So, two different aspects. One of our clients is a crystal shop, coffee shop type place, but their location is really what gives them the on-season, peak season, and the off-season. So they're located at the beach, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so for her, when is her peak season?
So her peak season would probably start around April and May and be until about September.
Okay, and then for the Brazilian wax place that we also assist with, what is her peak season?
I would probably say between March and August.
Okay, and so you're helping with consistency through that off season as well, right? So what are some of the tactics that you have found, or some of the marketing campaigns that you think, initiatives that are worth taking the time to look into?
So your number one goal, of course, is to stay relevant, and a great way to stay relevant during your off season is to create value. So Bray and I love Bray. That's the waxing salon here in downtown Somerville. Go check her out. She's amazing. But what we do is we focus on educating clients during that off season to explain and demonstrate why you don't want to stop waxing abruptly, because it's going to cause problems for your skin. It's going to cause problems for once you start waxing again. It's going to be more painful. You might get more ingrowns. Waxing really helps with that. So making sure that we are informing clients about why abruptly stopping your waxing is not going to be beneficial for them.
So that's something where, though, I feel like if I'm a small business owner and I'm hearing it, I'm saying, okay, well, that's really great practical advice, but how do you do that? How do you do that on a consistent weekly, monthly basis? And so some of the tools that people can be using to create consistent content or to help educate people during that off season could be an email list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that they consistently send maybe like 2 emails a month,
Yeah.
right? About why, in this case, for this example, for a waxing place, it would be why you want to continue doing it, or providing some type of embedded video or graphics to just kind of help educate them on those or in those areas. What else would be, I guess they could do it also through social media posts, utilizing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok to do that.
Creating a carousel for Instagram and Facebook is a great way to share a lot of great information.
What about too, leveraging some free PR, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody really wanted to proactively get some free PR during their off season, they could be sending or pitching some of these educational ideas to a local newspaper, because you guys remember we talk about this. News is, kind of jonesing for any type of good information articles that they can put out there, because they have that 24-hour news cycle now. So you guys could be helping a reporter in some sort of way by shooting them an email and just saying like, hey, this isn't something that typically people would cover during this time of year, but it's really important because of X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely. And I think it's also really important to remember, your messaging might change because you might have different people, different locals than the people who are coming in during your on season.
Okay.
So remembering to change your messaging, not focusing on, oh, you're here for vacation, but instead saying, oh, you're a local or something like that.
Yeah, to springboard off of that, though, I think that's the other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with this. When Chelsea recommends that you do some type of educating, part of that is understanding, and it's another way of saying you stay in consistent communication with the people that are your customers and clients. So basically, there are always two sides to a marketing campaign. There's the side where you're trying to draw in new customers and clients, and then there's the side where you're trying to keep the customers and clients that you have and keep them coming in for repeat business. So two different pillars, but with the education part of it, you're kind of hitting on both of these. So if you're educating them, you could potentially be attracting new clients or customers who even during your peak season aren't customers yet, right? So you might be attracting some new customers, but then also staying in communication with those existing customers, you're increasing your probability for repeat sales.
Yeah.
So another one that I would say to springboard off of that would be to also think about the services or the products that you have that typically people might not know about, right? So during your peak season, let's say you're a Brazilian wax place, of course people know it's in the name, so they know you're offering waxing services. But if you're doing any type of laser, if you're doing any type of hair treatments, if you're carrying any particular type of product, that may be something that people aren't as aware of.
Exactly. So, for example, in our off season, Bray likes to focus on hydrofacials
Okay.
because we do facials as well, and it's great for you in the winter. It's going to help your skin. So, great example of, making sure that you're sharing the different services that you offer.
If let's say you're a landscaping company, what might that look like? So, their peak season is going to be what, during the summertime and spring, when everything's getting nice and pretty and there's a lot of maintenance involved. But if you're doing landscaping and then the winter rolls around and you're like, we always see a dip in sales, maybe a marketing campaign or approach can be that you're focusing on, if you offer, getting your gutters cleaned out.
Yeah.
Or if you're in an area that it snows, maybe you actually will come in and help them remove snow from their driveway. Whatever that looks like, I think they call it salting the roads. I don't know a thing about it, but if you do anything along those lines, just think about all of the services and the products that you offer, and which one of these do you probably promote the least during your peak season, and then see if it's viable for you to be able to do it during your off season. If it's something that weather doesn't permit or it just doesn't make sense, then obviously you're not going to want to do that. But it probably could help just to promote some of those lesser known services or products that you're carrying.
Another really important thing that you should be doing is shifting your perspective in your target audience. So your target audience is made of a lot of different segments. Looking at a segment that you maybe haven't really invested a lot of time in is a great way to pivot and to instead, during your off season, focus on that segment, seeing how you can cater to them during that time. So I think yeah, go ahead.
What I would think would be really interesting about that is, let's say you're a caterer or someone who typically does, you could even do this with like cupcakes, or if you're a cake decorator or whatnot. If you're typically selling to a consumer base and you have a peak season, during your off season, you can consider pivoting a little bit onto corporate accounts.
Yeah.
Right? And so then if you're a caterer, you're approaching business owners saying like, hey, would you like to do a in-house catering for your employees, right? Whether that be for a business lunch or something like that. You see a lot of people doing this with, they'll start doing boxed lunches for executives.
Uh-huh.
Right? So that's something that's really good. Or let's take it one step further. Let's say you're a bakery and you're seeing a decrease in sales and you're just trying to come up with a way to extend get your products out there, your cookies out there. You could approach a caterer that offers these box lunches or some of this catering offsite to businesses and approach them about supplying them with cookies, right? So there are lots of different ways that you could create iterations of this, whether it's you approaching the particular target audience, or you getting involved with another small business owner or another company that's already doing it and you're just providing a portion of that service or product.
Absolutely. And from a storefront standpoint, so going back to one of our clients at Crystal Shop on a beach, during her on season, she's mostly focusing on tourists and selling, like knickknacks, gifts, that sort of thing. During the off season, you want to focus on your community.
Okay.
And you want to so she has a really big CBD community down at Folly, so focusing on CBD and your local returning customers is another great way to think about it.
So to that, I guess what you're saying too is also that because a lot of her sales during her peak season, during the beach season, is really tourists that are coming in from other places. So what you're saying is, instead during the off season, run promotions or campaigns or put communication out there that really is focused on the Charleston base, like the people that can still drive within
Yes.
15, 20 minutes, right? Because those are going to be the people that will consistently be purchasing, whether it be CBD, crystal coffee, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so the other part of that too is community events. I know that right now it's that weird time where it's like about to be spring, so it's not quite the summertime, so it's not her busy season yet, but she has the luxury of right now everyone's ramping up because the weather's starting to get really nice and beautiful for all of these community events, and so she could in the months leading up to her busy season participate in more of those to just kind of get her name recognized locally, right?
Absolutely. And we've done an episode on events, so you know how I feel about them. But that is a great way to stay relevant during your off season.
Another, this is going back, I know I'm kind of skipped around here, but another thing to stay in consistent communication, it kind of ties into what we're talking about now, being that we're talking about trying to connect with the local community that's here, that's a little more invested in the small businesses within the area. But texting, so whether that be through email or texting, these are all ways that, if you're running any type of particular promotion that's specific to locals or something like that, that would be a way to kind of get the information out there to let people know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping up with communication and again, coming back to touch points, you want to stay top of mind for your customers, so.
Absolutely. Now, the one, I think, final piece that I would add to it is pre-sale. So you see this in a lot of industries, notably whether it's sports or concerts or stuff like that, but people do a lot of pre-sale ahead of their peak season. And so typically the way they'll do this is they'll incentivize people with some type of discount or promotion to get them to purchase ahead of time for something that's a couple months out. But if you're in any type of industry that can kind of tie this into what you're doing, consider that. So if your peak season is, let's say, January through April, then consider starting to sell things in October. Right?
Yeah.
And now your messaging is going to have to be on point. You're going to have to give people a reason to want to take action now and not wait last minute. People like me who wait last minute to buy something. You're going to want to give us enough incentive to do that. But your messaging really can be to purchase ahead of time. Get, if you're a air conditioning company, maybe in order to ramp up for those summer months when you are going to be behind and it's going to be hard to get people out to, check your AC unit in the hot Carolina weather when it's like 100 and something degrees, right?
Oh, God.
Maybe your pitch could be, hey, purchase, $400, $500 worth of like a, call ahead service, right? Which, however you guys calculate that or whatever that is. And maybe what incentivizes them is to say, oh, hey, if something happens to my air conditioning unit in June, July, and August, which are the hottest months here in South Carolina, I know I'm going to be bumped up to the top of the list because I've already prepaid.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So there are things that you can do to just kind of get creative and do that. But the key is to not be afraid of experimenting and trying something new. Do you have a list of emails that you have collected from past buyers that is just sitting there getting dusty?
Are you looking for a way to build a long-term relationship with people so that your small business will stay top of mind for them? Want to increase your repeat sales? For every dollar spent on email marketing, businesses receive an average of a $42 return on their investment. And with an ROI like that, can you really afford to continue to let that email list sit there and just collect dust? Joining our Nothing But Emails monthly membership program means that you can sit back and reap the rewards of sending out monthly or bi-monthly communication while we craft the email and send it out on your behalf. For less than $100 a month, you can capitalize on this. Start today by visiting www.theseasonmarketer.com/services. I have a great example of this. So COVID hit, right? And everything was being canceled. Yeah, you remember in your head? Yeah. Everything was being canceled. My partner and I, we go on a lot of cruises. Now, he enjoys them a little bit more than I do. But
I think Tim enjoys life a little more than you do across the board.
Wow. Okay. I would not say that, but okay. Anyway, during, I want to say it was probably 2021. So still COVID, still going on. Coming towards the end of it, but not quite. Obviously, we didn't know. Carnival trying to make sales, right? Because they're in a tight spot. They can't go anywhere, can't do anything. So they were doing a sale saying if you purchase a cruise for 2022, 2023, you could get it at a heavily discounted rate. I think Tim and I went on our cruise for $200.
That's insane.
It was a 5-day cruise.
That is
crazy. It was $200 because they needed to stay afloat. They needed to make sales. So, great example. I mean, what's better, no sale or a sale at a very discounted price? Now, we're not saying to like heavily discount your prices and do a cruise for $200, but
or if you do, send us an email, Vivian@theseasonmarketer.com. We will buy that.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do end up doing that. But, so, like, if you're a B&B, something like that, doing a discount during your off-season, and maybe pitching it as there won't be that many people here, you can relax and be, by yourself, something like that is also a great way to show value during your off-season.
And to your point, I think the tourist industry does this very, very well. I mean, whether it's you're going to stay at a really nice spa or something. Well, for example, Bluffton, South Carolina, they have the Palmetto Bluff. Mm-hmm. And it's a very nice spa that you can stay at. Costs quite a bit of money. But if you go during their off season, you actually can get a much better rate. So every industry does some version of this. I think the key here, like Chelsea was saying, is we're not telling you to heavily discount your products or services to where you're going to feel uncomfortable about it. But you know your business better than anybody else. And to Chelsea's point, making a sale and getting a customer through your door that you can retain in the long run is much better than just not making any sale during that time. So,
and I just thought of this, loyalty programs.
Yeah.
Yes, they're a great way to keep people coming in the door no matter the time of year. So like after your 5th visit, get a free pastry or something like that if you're a coffee shop. So that's going to help.
This works really well for bundt cakes. I'm always down for a good bundt cake, like even though they make me buy like 9 before I get one free.
They do, it was just recently my birthday and they sent me my free buntlet for my birthday. I was so excited.
What kind did you get? What flavor did you get?
I love red velvet. Yeah, I'm a red velvet person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Which happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Big 25.
Yeah, 25 now.
Okay, so to recap, let's just very quickly go through what we talked about. So continuing to educate people, right? Providing value in that way. And you could do that through either an email list or texting list, whatever that looks like.
Social media.
Social media, yeah, that's a really big one. Or if you're going out to actual community events and just educating people, you could do that as well. The other one, I think we talked about pivoting audiences. Thinking about the target audience that maybe you typically aren't pitching to or selling to during your peak season. So that could be an opportunity. The other one was pre-sale. Mm-hmm. So trying to sell things in advance up until your peak season. Yep. And then the other one, loyalty programs that you just talked
Loyalty
about.
programs. Yep.
And then the final one, I think, was pitching some of your lesser known services, right? So if you were a landscape company, you could tell them about your gutter services, or, the fact that you shovel snow for them off the driveway, whatever it is.
So don't be discouraged, guys. Off seasons, it's okay. Remember to have fun with it and just do the best that you can do as a small business owner and be the best SOB you can be.
That's right. And don't be scared to try new things and to just kind of get some of those creative juices flowing. So the more you're willing to try, I think you may find what works really, really well, or maybe what doesn't work quite as well, but you'll get the hang of it the more, ideas you put out there and are willing to give it a shot.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Hopefully in person this time.
That's right.